Hello and welcome to the Product-Led Festival. I am Shailesh Nalwani, the head of product at Zenbird. For many businesses, real-time communication via chat is quickly becoming the new standard for consumer and community engagement. Since the pandemic, the need for in-app communication has accelerated. Real-time chat, once confined to the dedicated messenger apps, is now essential for most social and business applications. Indeed, product managers everywhere have had to quickly adapt to this new reality. At Zenbird, we have always thought of our customer success as being the ultimate measure of our own. So it has been heartening to see our customers use our chat, voice, and video APIs to increase their community's engagement and foster stronger connections. We are proud to sponsor this festival, which centers around exchanging ideas and products for a better tomorrow. I encourage you to tune into the great sessions, as well as connect with other creative problem solvers, such as yourself, on the festival's Slack channel.
Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the next presentation here at the Product-Led Festival. We are in for a treat next because we've got one of our key partners, Zenbird, and their head of product, Shailesh Nalwani, who's going to be talking to us today about how in-app chat, voice, and video drive key results and KPIs across different verticals. So I'd like to welcome to the virtual stage, Shailesh.
Yes, hello, welcome, and hi everyone. Heather, all good in terms of audio and video? Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome again. My name is Shailesh Nalwani, and I'm the head of product at Zenbird. Prior to Zenbird, I have been a product manager in various tech companies for over 15 years. My talk today, as I mentioned earlier, is about measuring success. All right, let's get going. Many of the smartest management thinkers of our time have discussed the virtues of metrics and measurement. And the famed management thinker, Peter Drucker, I think, is the one that is quoted as saying, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. Building on this, a common advice that in product management is always to articulate the metrics that measure success prior to kicking off a software project. On the other hand, given today's software systems and the plethora of monitoring tools, we often end up in the opposite problem, where we in fact have too many data points. Which is why actually I like this quote from Seth Godin, and it says, a useful metric is both accurate in that it measures what it says it measures, and aligned with your goals. So don't measure anything unless the data helps you actually make a better decision or change your actions. Now, I think this code really acknowledges that there is a surplus of data points available, and picking the right subset of metrics is actually an important exercise. And the right metric is, honestly, something that is correlated with the factors that help your project or your business succeed. So with that said, before we move further on, I just want to take a few moments to define a couple of key terms, right? Metrics, success metrics, and KPIs. Metrics are quantifiable measures used to evaluate the performance, right? Quantifiable being the key term. And success metrics are those metrics that are strongly correlated with the success of your project. And KPIs, key performance indicators, are metrics that are vital to your product. For the purposes of this presentation, I'm going to use KPIs and success metrics somewhat interchangeably. Every product is different, right? And each of you works on a different set of products, and the KPIs that you come up with are going to really depend on multiple factors, including the stage of the company that you're in, how mature is your business, the number of users that you have, and so on. Today, what I'd like to do is show you how companies that use the same Zenbird products, have radically different KPIs and success metrics. And that is really going to be interesting in terms of giving us an idea and insight into the right way to kind of pick KPIs and how to react to them. But before we jump into these examples, and their associated success metrics, let me take a few moments to tell you about Sendbird. Sendbird's mission is to help our customers create connections with and between users on their platforms. How do we do this? We do this by offering a chat, voice, and video services, which are delivered as an API or an SDK across numerous platforms, so that our customers can build rich and interactive experiences within their applications or their websites, and thereby helping our customers achieve their business goals. At Sendbird, we are proud that industry leaders and some of the largest apps in the world have chosen us to power their digital interactions. We work with healthcare companies like Accolade, Livongo, and Grand Rounds to help consumers get access to information about their benefits over chat. We help marketplaces across the world to connect buyers and sellers in real time, so buyers can get their questions answered and sellers can, as a result, close more business. We help on-demand services companies like Delivery Hero by connecting the drivers and the consumers ordering takeout and groceries. And we help hundreds of millions of Redditors and other community sites connect one-on-one or in real-time chat rooms to discuss the topics of their choice. Now, we believe that richer social interactions via chat leads to better overall outcomes. And these are the success metrics that we track at Sendbird across all of our customers. And these include things like DAUs, chat engagement, and chat user satisfaction. Regardless of verticals our customers belong to, we know that the following is true. That one, when you foster conversation between two parties, you get more trust and more frequent conversations. Two, that chat features make it possible for online communities to gather around a common topic of interest. For example, chat within a multiplayer video game or fan conversations around fantasy sports. And three, if over the course of a conversation you trigger empathy, it leads to more civility in the conversations and an overall better quality of interactions on these online platforms. But our customers don't all share the same KPIs. And so what I'd like to do is show you examples of 5 companies that use the same Sendbird product, but have very different KPIs and success measures. Let's start with Reddit. Reddit hardly needs any introduction, but let's do it anyway. It's a social news aggregation, web content rating, and discussion website. Registered members of Reddit can submit content to the site, such as links, text posts, images, and videos, which are then discussed in depth and voted up or down by other members. The challenge for Reddit was to encourage users to have more thoughtful conversations and to increase their engagement. So Reddit worked with Sendbird to offer its users private messaging and subreddit group chats for up to groups of 1,000 members. Remember, the key performance indicator for them was user retention, right? And by offering private messages, they felt that users could have a public discussion and then continue on to have more intimate, private, one-on-one conversations using chat. Here's another customer. iFood is an online food delivery portal and mobile app. Their primary market is in Brazil. And the challenge that they faced was dealing with the volume of customer support requests coming in from their customers. Their contact center staff was stretched by the volume of inbound requests. As a result, customers were unhappy with the service because they were not getting a hold of someone from iFood on time. Their solution was also to use in-app chat. Chat between drivers and customers ordering food, and between customers and the contact center were 2 use cases that they deployed. And by providing in-app updates to the order status of the customers, they were less likely to contact iFood about their orders. And when they did end up contacting iFood, we were able to supply all of the relevant information about the order so that the support staff could really quickly resolve the issues. So the KPIs that iFood was targeting were the percentage of orders that resulted in a call to the contact center, because every time that triggered a call, the costs went up. Another KPI was the percentage of orders that resulted in a chat between driver and customer. And a third one was when customers did in fact contact the contact center, what was the time to first response, right? So very different KPIs from the previous example. Let's go on to another example, Accolade. Accolade is a healthcare company, and they offer personalized healthcare recommendations to their customers. These recommendations are provided by a concierge-style health coach using a combination of personal health data that the customers have provided, machine learning based on their custom data sets, AI, mobile apps, and some of the analytics that they are able to gather from their customers. Accolade's challenge was to create an appropriate communication channel between the health coaches and customers. They could have done this over telephone calls, but that incurred a different set of challenges. And so what they wanted was a communication medium that was personalized and convenient, but yet not too intrusive. And so what they ended up doing with our help was to build a patient-to-coach communication using Sendbird. Their KPI for going with this chat was around patient engagement. The next example is Hinge. Hinge is a popular dating application. It uses AI and science to match people's personality and help them create meaningful connections. Hinge is also actually one of the largest dating sites in the United States. Hinge is actually one of the largest dating sites in the United States. The challenge for Hinge then was with COVID and in-person meetings, it was not that simple anymore to really connect, two parties that were looking to get on a date. And Hinge needed to recreate the physical presence of that you get, and doing it online with voice and video chats, while also generating enough telemetry to feed their data-driven approach to dating. Hinge used rich and trusted interactions between their users. Connect their users and build relationships so they're not able to meet in person. Their KPI was user sentiment, which is how satisfied are the customers with the date, and the percentage of second calls and dates that come about after an introduction is made. And the third, and which I personally found quite interesting, was the average call duration, because that is a indicator of actually how well the match has actually happened. So quite interesting, and again, very different from the previous examples. And the last example that I want to use is actually, again, a very different use case, which is B2B. Keep Trucking provides transportation companies with a holistic view of their fleet operations. And this helps them maximize the productivity of the drivers, reduce the costs, and better serve their customers. An important segment of their user base are truck drivers. Now, these drivers are always on the road and may not have experience using business software. And these drivers honestly need to coordinate with customers and the delivery recipients. So for Keep Trucking, we help them deploy in-app chat along with advanced features like rich messaging. An example of rich messaging is a location widget that is pasted within the chat that quickly enables high level. Keep Trucking's KPIs were about driver satisfaction and productivity. And so the KPI was driver to back office call reduction, NPS, Net Promoter Score for drivers. So while revenue is the ultimate KPI of almost every business that we work with, how you earn the money is actually reflected in your KPIs. And these apps that I've also noted here see tangible improvements in their KPIs as a result of connecting their users over chat, voice, and video. So these KPIs include booking cancellation rates for ride hailing, reduction in support calls for food delivery, conversions for marketplace apps, and user engagement for gaming apps. So when it comes to assessing KPIs, Sendbird is quite privileged actually to be in a position where we serve so many different businesses across different verticals. We offer the same product, chat, voice, and video solutions, but each of our customers comes to us with a different set of challenges. For verticals that we see commonly, we have developed an understanding of how these businesses generate revenue and hence what they care about. And additionally, the stage of the company's product and business model also determines if the KPI is something more fundamental, like user retention, or something slightly more nuanced, like reducing customer support costs. So for example, marketplace apps where buyers and sellers come together, conversions, which turn into transactions, are a key performance indicator. For healthcare service companies, the time spent by their staff coordinating with patients is a KPI. So any tool that makes communication more effective is very welcome. And for dating and community, using chat features that foster safety, that build trust and create empathy between participants are key to increasing the time spent in the app, which is an important determinant of their success. So finally, for Sendbird, we use these industry-specific KPIs to fine-tune our product offerings, as well as kind of our sales pitch as we go out and meet with prospective customers. So having said all of this, I actually want to end my presentation with this really witty and memorable maxim, right? Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. Now, this quote is sometimes attributed to Albert Einstein, but based on a lot of research I did on the internet, it in fact originates with a sociologist called William Bruce Cameron. And what I like about it is that it addresses the notion that anything that cannot be radically quantified is in fact valueless. I actually don't agree with that. And so that's why I like this statement, which is that even as we strive to optimize our KPIs, it is important to take a step back and contemplate if the KPIs we cover, really do in fact cover the entirety of what matters to our projects and our businesses. It is important to leave some room for intangibles, things that are hard to measure, such as the value of your brand, and is the experience consistent with your brand. And these are, again, things that we have observed some of our customers really try to integrate into kind of how they build it. So with that, I actually wanted to say to end my talk, and happy to keep the conversation going. And please feel free to reach out to me over email.
Thank you so much, Shailesh. Great presentation with some really interesting use cases there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do have questions, please pop them in the chat. We've got a few minutes now to answer them. We've got one here from Raul about the healthcare example. In-app comms is great for the younger generation, but did it impact how Accolade communicated with older, less tech-savvy users?
I think that's a great question. It is important as you think about your KPIs to also understand that different segments of your users may in fact have different experiences. What we have found is that with the right set of experiences, even if it's something new where older customers are maybe hesitant or less familiar with, the convenience of being able to communicate asynchronously over chat is something that even patients who are older and maybe less experienced with texting really come to appreciate over time. And we've seen this time and time again in healthcare, where in fact the most enthusiastic adopters of being able to chat with your provider tend to be actually older patients who are just I know that they can't actually always be reachable, or that they can send the message at the time that works for them. So yes, there is some truth that really cutting edge experiences may be hard for people to adopt, but if the value is there in terms of convenience, you will find that people actually do respond to great user experiences.
Great, thanks, Shailesh. Raquel would like to know, will the slides be shared? Yes, we can share the slides with you afterwards, Raquel. That's no problem at all. Are there any more questions about the Zenbird platform, how it can be used across different industries and used to track different metrics? Were there any industries that weren't specifically mentioned in the presentation that anyone would like to know anything about? Everyone's being a bit shy.
One thing, actually, while we're waiting for more questions to come in, which I can chime in, is actually multiplayer video games. I think we've all in our generation, have kind of used to cooperating together and playing video games together, whether it's Call of Duty, which my son plays, or other maybe more sedate games that people play. And it's kind of a truism to say, yes, multiplayer makes the game more interesting. But what I've come to appreciate working with some of the other gaming companies is that there are different forms of chat. So there is the notion of a lobby chat, where people, before a game starts, you kind of get together and exchange messages with each other. There is the in-game chat, which is while you're within the game, you're coordinating. And then there's something that is also called a clan chat, which is like, as you meet people online, you kind of form groups of people with like-minded interests, and then you continue to have chats with them. So again, even within something like gaming, it's not like this one experience, which is like, hey, it's chat. But in fact, there are different ways to segment the user experience and create different experiences, using the same chat tool. And the goal in the end is always kind of, user engagement and, getting people to come back again, which is return usage.
Nice. That's a good example. I know a lot of people who love Call of Duty and really value the chat function. I think they use that and talk on that more than they do to people in real life at the moment.
Indeed.
We've got one here from Ziv, but it's about WhatsApp. Do you know if WhatsApp for Business is going to be available to small businesses at scale?
I don't work at Facebook or WhatsApp, so I couldn't really tell you about their plans. But I will mention that there are different approaches to kind of incorporating chat for businesses that want to kind of keep in touch with their consumers. There is meeting the consumers where they already are, which is on platforms such as WhatsApp, or bringing the consumers to your experience, which is your mobile app, and having the conversation within your application. Both of these cases, you are providing a convenient way to chat with the customer, but depending on the choices you make and the resources you have available, the experiences can be quite different between chatting on a public platform versus chatting within the application and having a more personalized experience. Again, this is something that I can go on and discuss at length, but I think happy to have the follow-on conversation with the person that asked the question.
Nice. And we've got Mohammed again asking about, can we get access to the slides to be able to review them?
Yes, Mohammed, indeed.
Absolutely. I'd recommend anyone who does want the slides, please reach out to Shailesh directly via his email at the top, or even LinkedIn, and he'll be able to send them to you and kind of add a bit more context as well to any questions you might have. Annie's asked a question here. Do you see different adoption levels across different geographies? I often read articles about how consumers in developing countries are more mobile first.
The short answer is that there are, in fact, some early adopter differences. I can speak anecdotally that in APAC, we find consumers are very eager and very comfortable with chat. As was mentioned a little bit earlier, there are some other demographics, maybe in North America, maybe among an older segment, where the chat adoption is a little bit lower. So there is definitely some of that. But I will point out that in the end, it is your user journey and to what extent chat blends in to really address the pain point that your customers are facing and why they are within your experience. And over time, if you are in fact able to thoughtfully incorporate chat into your user experience, you will find that adoption levels do go up, even among surprising segments such as older consumers who are less familiar with chatting on their mobile phones.
Nice. Got one here from Sam. Sorry if I missed this at the beginning, but how does Sendbird tackle its own KPIs, seeing the large number of businesses and use cases you cater for?
That is a great question. I touched on that very briefly, which is that we have obviously our own KPIs, but it's hard to create one KPI that really addresses kind of each of our customers' use cases. But to the extent that we are a business and we care about our growth and our success, the KPIs that we measure are things like what we call engaged users. How many engaged users are there on our platform who are sending messages between each other and between businesses themselves, and what kind of user retention do we see for people that are in fact actively chatting on our platform. So these are very high level metrics, and I think the reason we don't get more specific than that comes it gets to the issue of privacy and how much information we have about our customers. Because we maintain a little bit of a firewall, there's only so much that we know about what's going on inside of our mobile applications of our customers. But the KPIs that we do track, in fact, are daily engaged users and monthly engaged users.
Great. We're almost at time. I'm going to ask one more question and give time for anyone else if they'd like to throw anything else into the chat before we round off. But Shailesh, if you could go back to the start of your career in product and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, I don't know if we have enough time for all the advice that I'd like to give my younger self. But I think, it does come back, I think, to the last slide that I ended with, which is that it is, as in everything in life, it's not really about absolutes. Like everything in life is really about relatives, which is that even if you have these metrics, these KPIs, to me, what I've learned over time is not the absolute number of the metric that really matters, but it is the relative progression of the metric, either over time or across segments or across verticals, that is really instructive. So to give you an example, what is a user retention of 69.5 versus 72.1? It's hard really to say is one better than the other, but an improvement in user retention from 69.5 to 72.1 over 6 months is material. So I guess, to keep it really simple, the metrics, the most important point about metrics is in fact the relative change over time or across segments. That to me is far more interesting than the absolute number of the metric.
Great, that is a nice note to finish on. And with that, we are pretty much at time. So thank you so much, Shailesh, for sharing your insights and how you can drive results using in-app functions across different verticals. Like I said, everyone at the beginning, Shailesh's email is pinned at the top. Ziv, better late than never. We've got one more question. We've got 2 minutes to go. So let's go for it. How important is unifying multi-channel chat?
So I think multi-channel, again, is a function of the kind of things that you want to do in your application. I think multi-channel, it means different things to different people. On a healthcare app, multi-channel, I'm actually trying to figure out what exactly you mean. Multi-channel may mean creating different channels for different subjects. And in the case of things like Reddit, it actually turns out to be quite important to be able to create a smaller and more intimate channel, which has a group chat and different kind of different users, but based on a smaller and more intimate topic. So the answer is, as always, it depends. If your use case is such as I described in Keep Trucking, multi-channel is less useful. If you're a company like Reddit, it actually is quite interesting and quite useful to have that kind of capabilities.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Shailesh. I will actually say goodbye this time. Really appreciate you
Indeed.
joining us. It's been great to have you here at the festival, and thank you so much.
Absolutely welcome. And if anyone wants to stay in touch, please do. Let me know. I'd love to discuss this topic with you. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.